Welcome to the Aesthetics Injector Gang podcast. Having a gang of mentors in this industry has been a blessing that we wanted to share with you. Our core group has been traveling together and comparing notes about life and business for years. Tune in as we delve into topics with others in the industry that you are sure to love and make you laugh.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Aesthetics Injector Gang podcast, another episode in season 2. You have me, you're stuck with me for the next however long we decide to talk. Brandon Mullen, practice manager at Iona Atelier. Also, doing my consulting under Empower Solutions as well. I have the gorgeous, beautiful, talented Shelbi Sloan with me today. If I had like an applause thing in the background, I would do.
You're making me blush, Brandon.
I know. If you guys could see this, you'd see she's gorgeous. Even though I told her it's not video, we're just audio only, but she is the hustler and owner of Sloan Aesthetics with 2 locations in Scottsdale, Arizona and Little Rock, Arkansas. And she also has her own amazing podcast, Get Snatched. That's right. That's the name, correct? Get Snatched?
Yeah, Get Snatched.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yes. I searched for a couple different things and I got a little confused by the little, the symbol. So I'm glad I got to listen to a couple episodes tonight. But,
perfect.
So we're coming in with a pretty, I'd say unpopular topic today. Something that's not right. Something that's not really talked about. But before we get into that, before we talk about that topic, I just want people to understand a little bit about you, Shelbi, and your background, because you have gained notoriety and popularity pretty quick. So how did you get into aesthetics?
So I actually was fired during the pandemic
Nice.
as a dermatology nurse practitioner. I was in Arkansas at the time. Just got my feet wet in aesthetics, only 3 months of experience and like 1 hour in training, and was fired in the pandemic, kind of went and worked COVID as an RN, not an NP, saved my money. And then in 2021, kind of still in the heat of COVID, I moved to Arizona and opened my first practice.
That's amazing.
So that's kind of how what got me started. Just being fired, I think actually threw me into a trauma response, and I didn't really know that for a couple of years in.
Mm-hmm.
So you say hustler, and I think a little bit of it was the trauma response, but I am kind of a natural hustler already, baseline, and throw a little trauma in, and I was just like rolling. So now I have 2 locations, a team, of 7, and I'm the lead injector for both locations. So it is a lot.
Absolutely. And you look gorgeous doing it. So you make it look effortless, but what I love about you is how much you share in your Instagram stories. You're always saying how hard it is, and you're very honest. I love that about you.
I think people need to know what they're getting into. Aesthetics is a very hard field to make a name for yourself, to make friendships, to have a successful business. So it's good to share these things and attract the right people that you want, I feel like, in your corner.
Absolutely. 100%. And one thing that you touched on when you said, COVID kind of sparked your journey into aesthetics. I kind of feel the same way. I came in on the end of COVID. So I was working for a software company that was, we'll say, taking a different direction, to be very politically correct. In early 2021, and Ashley just happened to start her journey into aesthetic. Well, not into aesthetics, but into business ownership in January of 2021. That's when Alexandria first opened. And within 3 months, she was losing her mind. She's 3 months booked out. She's like, I can't do this, this, and this. And I was like, well, I can't either, but I'll figure it out. So I started to become her practice manager in later Q1 of 2021, because it's been almost 3 years now. And that really, it was a very big shift for me from working behind a desk, sitting here in my home office. You guys can't see that right now, but I'm in my home office this week doing a lot of things, and there's a lot of things I can do virtually, but kind of segueing into the topic for today, when I first got into this agreement and arrangement with Ashley, I was in fact sober. I was almost 8 years sober, and kind of coming into aesthetics and off the tail end of COVID, was definitely a transition for me. So I wanted to pick your brain because I know that you have been very transparent and honest about your sobriety over the past one plus year. Congratulations.
Yeah, a year and 3 months. I think last night I looked, it was 469 days.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And I wanted to talk to you today about kind of the aesthetics world, which is very, very large, very global. There's lots of pieces and parts to it, but how kind of drinking has, presented itself to you in your interactions with, clients, events, conferences, the whole gamut, and how it's kind of affected you and your choice to be sober.
Yeah.
Because I know we both have very interesting stories, very different. And fun fact about both of us, we are both Aries. Our birthdays are one day apart in April, which
one day.
How does that even happen? I think the world brought us together because, and just a little bit of a backstory too, that we met at Aesthetic Next last year in person.
Yeah.
But followed for a little while before that. But we actually got to work together doing a workshop last year, and maybe we'll get to work together this year. I don't know. It's not final yet.
It's not final.
Tiffany a little ringy dingy.
We're going to say Tiffany's going to approve both of us, and I'm going to see you and Ashley again at Aesthetic Next, which I'm excited for. But yeah, I can kind of hone in on me as a new entrepreneur in aesthetics and how I was utilized drinking. Well, how basically I was kind of exposed to drinking, and then now how I've shifted it with the more responsibility and more stress that I have. I just decided to kind of just go sober. So initially starting out in aesthetics, if you get invited to work dinners and things like that, I would have a glass of wine or two at dinner. Say there's not that many work dinners, but then if I'm taking a potential, like someone I'm going to work with, like maybe lawyer, CPA, it just depends. Maybe someone that you're hiring for like on-ground marketing or something like that, or Instagram, and you want to take them to dinner to get to know them, to see like if they're a good fit to work with the company. Typically dinner, there's always a drink menu and everyone orders at least a drink or two. Seems like it's the social norm. So add that into me growing two practices, like being exposed to drinking, maybe drinking a little bit in my social life if I'm going out with my girlfriends. And I went through a very hard breakup for me. And that's what led me to my sobriety. I was like, I can't run a business and be sad because it's really hard. You can't like be depressed and run your business. Like it's not going to thrive. So I was like, okay, what's the quickest way I can like snap out of this and get myself back and regain that like clarity and center of self and like that power. And like getting your power back is hard sometimes, but sobriety was like the quickest way that I found to find myself again through this breakup. And, I'm trying to run this team and get these 2 locations off the ground. So it was really difficult and I experienced a lot of different emotions, but I can say I've gotten a lot of my like childhood trauma and things like that out, relationship trauma out. So I don't feel like I need to drink anymore. Like I'm not masking those things. So now when I go to like a work dinner, I'm just like, oh, can I get a mocktail or a ginger beer? Or Diet Coke? Because I think when we're making business decisions, a lot of people want to drink. But in reality, I think to have a clear conscience of making the right decision, making sure it's not altered, and doing that sober without alcohol, I think has just been really good for me personally.
Yeah. No, I mean that speaks volumes, and I'm glad that you had that self-awareness before you had any real repercussions.
Yeah, like
Because
there really weren't any, it's just it was adding up, and I was like, okay, if there's a work dinner or I have a dinner meeting like once a week, like that's me drinking for sure once a week. And then say I have one bad day a week, that's me drinking 2 days a week. And then if I go out on the weekend with the girls, that's me drinking 3 days a week. And if you look at the, you know, whatever it's called, the
Mhm,
alcohol, are you an alcoholic basically? If you're
mhm,
having 6 drinks a week socially, like that kind of does classify you as like having alcoholism. And I was like, okay, I just don't want to go down this path.
mhm,
And I know plenty of nurses that could get off shift and had like a whole bottle of wine. So
mhm,
I think it's not just in aesthetics. I think that we should bring awareness to just really all healthcare workers, um, as well as if they're experiencing these problems or they're unhappy in their work environment or, they're having a sad patient experience to be able to talk to someone because a lot of you drinking is masking emotion and you're just trying to process that emotion and get that feeling out.
mhm. Absolutely. I can relate to so much of what you just shared.
Yeah.
Taking a step back, whenever I first got into aesthetics, I noticed, every function seemed to revolve around alcohol, and it's not something that is just synonymous with aesthetics, right? I think it's just a social norm in general, right?
It
Like
is.
everybody wants to go to dinner. Not everyone's like, "Oh, are you gonna have a Diet Coke with lemon with me?" They're like, "What kind of wine are we drinking? What kind of
Right.
drink do you want?" It's not like, "Do you want like unsweetened iced tea or sweetened?" Like it's no one ever asks that, right?
Right.
It's like, why aren't you drinking? Like you need
Yeah.
to have a drink. It's something that has been, I think, just as Americans in general, something that is socially accepted, quote
It
unquote.
is. And
And it doesn't need to be like that all the time. And whenever I first came into this space, it's hard to say no sometimes, right?
it
Like
is.
you go to these dinners, some are sponsored, some are not, but like it's it's kind of balls to the wall sometimes. Like you can
Yeah.
order what you want, you can get what you want to drink, and everyone seemed to be doing it. And being, sober, Brandon, for almost 8 years at that point,
Mhm.
I had a good program of recovery under my belt, and I felt good for a while.
Right.
Um, and I even went to conferences, and I felt comfortable and confident in who I was and saying no. And if
Hmm.
people were continually asking me, I would say, I'm allergic, or, and then I'd love the response to that. People are
Yeah.
like, "You're allergic?" Oh, I'm like, "Do you
No,
want me to
but really,
die?"
I thought I was allergic too, only because like I would have like 2 glasses of wine and be so hungover the next day. That was also
Hmm.
part of it. Was that the hangovers were really bad, even with just 2 drinks.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I have some kind of allergy. Like this is just not mixing.
Yeah. And I mean, it really was. And it got annoying at some point, but, eventually after being exposed, and it's my own fault, but, I was at an event and I did take a drink. And, you know, after that, I kind of felt a little awkward and ashamed because I knew that I shouldn't have, but I did anyway. And there was just something inside me that just accepted that drink. And
Could have been the peer pressure. It could have been the environment. You know, I think
yeah.
something like for us to consider is like if we're invited to a work dinner. I always try to make everything virtual. I'm like, hey, thank you for this like invitation. Like, I would love to attend. I'm just like really busy. Is there a way that we can just do like a meeting on a Monday?
Hmm.
Because one, I mean, I'm like in my early 30s. Like, I want to be going on dates. Like, I don't want to go on all these work dinners. Like,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? So like I'm trying to turn like more dinners that like are potential or potential partnerships into just like work meetings on like my Monday.
Hmm.
Um because it is important about like who you're surrounding yourself with. If you're just surrounding yourself by people that are just wanting to go to these work dinners and they're just like getting wasted, and you're like, there's not a lot of like, I feel like progression that comes with that. So just like being mindful of your environment and being comfortable in saying no, just like, hey, like I don't drink anymore. I've had so many people ask me, oh, were you an alcoholic? And I'm like, I think that's so rude, because it's like, I'm just choosing to do something that's good for myself. But then it was like looked at as I had a problem, kind of.
Absolutely. And I mean, the thing about alcoholism, at least in my experience, is that you can only identify as an alcoholic yourself. Nobody can label you. It's a feeling that you have based on your habits and your experiences. And, no one else can call you out on that. I don't feel that I have the right to call anyone else that unless they have self-identified. And that has to be an uncomfortable feeling. I've had enough life experience, we'll say, and enough repercussions and circumstances that if anybody would come up to me and say that, oh, Brandon, are you an alcoholic? Yeah, I am. Like, a lot of shit has happened in my life. So I'm proud to admit it at this point, and I'm not ashamed. But that's just me. That's just me.
Yeah. And I mean, you just can think too of like sharing your journey, about like us sharing our journey in this. Like there's no telling how many people also feel the same way, and that maybe they just need that little bit of encouragement to be like, you know what, I am putting my business first this year. Like I'm going to be focused. And that's like part of being focused is like watching what comes in our environment, our energy field, like watching what, we're surrounding ourselves with and things like that.
Absolutely. And I will say that for the period of time that I did drink, and I've been sober now, actually today's 3 months.
Congrats.
Thanks.
Nice.
Little party. Don't worry, I have a whole desk full of candy over here that I can celebrate with.
I love that. The Valentine's Day.
But what you said about clarity, I didn't realize how I just kind of functioned in a fog for so long.
Yeah.
And I thought that was normal. And, for me, I used to, indulge in drinking to make things more exciting. I drank when I was sad. I drank for no freaking reason because the day ended in day. It didn't really matter after a while.
It's just like you want to have a glass of wine after work,
Right. Yeah. Oh, it's so stressful. I mean, it is. This profession, no matter what your role is, if you're a business owner, if you're an injector, if you're a practice manager, if you're an esthetician, like no matter what your role is, it comes with its own different kind of stress. I know that we can, but at least both of us can relate to bedside nursing stress. Like that's a whole nother ballgame, but like
that's a whole nother ballgame. And this is a whole nother beast. Like whole nother beast. Not a lot
really
of time to recover when you're like the manager or the owner. It's like you have to like keep going to the next problem, and whether you're like working through those problems or not, like, you still have to wake up and show up every day. So the best way for me to wake up and show up for my business every day was choosing sobriety, just because I felt like the brain fog, the emotional state it was making me post this breakup, like just sad and depressed. And it's like, I already kind of battled depression. So it's like, why am I aiding myself and like fueling my body with something that's making me more sad?
Right. Yeah. You're adding insult to injury.
I know. And I would say that the success that comes with that on the other side, the healing that has came with that, definitely I've doubled my business in a year.
That's amazing.
Like every year, like, we have double business production in both, states and both practices. And I just quickly realized that like, you can't, like, I couldn't, continue to function the way that I was. And so now I have like good boundaries around like work stuff. Like I said, just do a meeting instead of a dinner, unless I need to actually go to dinner. Yeah. Those kind of things.
Absolutely. And I I know that, what works for me is having more of a routine. I know
Oh, yeah.
that, being sober, structure really helps me organize my brain because the thoughts that go through my head are half my problem.
I know.
And
Same.
being sober, like I'm able to get up. I can go to Pilates. I love yoga. It really kind of complements a spiritual side that I never really knew existed.
Yeah.
Um, it helps me be much more productive. I can,
Oh, yeah.
more aptly do all the things that I need to do in a day.
Right.
And I'm not, hungover or feeling like crap and,
Or having to eat
delaying
bad
things.
because you're hungover, and then that's like a whole nother cycle, you
Right.
know?
Yeah. And I think, going out, like you said, you just have to kind of set up some guardrails. I know for me, I
Yeah.
always love an exit plan. Like I love to drive places. I always make sure I have like the Uber, whatever
Oh,
it
yeah.
is, like I have a plan and
I
I'm
think
like an
that's
old
a
lady
Aries
now,
thing.
right? Oh, it's the control thing for sure. We're
Oh,
both
yeah.
fire signs.
Yeah, we're like, no, we're in full control. We're gonna leave this work event when we want to. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel
And I think even, I don't know about you, but like for me, whenever I go to larger events like conferences or
yeah.
just bigger meetings, like I may seem very extroverted to most people, but I'm a very introverted extrovert. I reach a max like here and then
Yep.
I am done. Like I need to go, get me in my hotel
Recharge.
room. I need to take my third shower of the day and just leave me alone. Maybe a bath. I don't know. Depends on the hotel. But
The
you know what
mood.
I mean?
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And I'm the same way. Like, I think just being a provider and I'm seeing patients all day and then running the team and then answering texts and work emails, your energy source is zapped.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to recharge. And that's what I like to do is like recharge with like downtime at night. So like during the day, I'm always talking, doing meetings, seeing patients. I'm very
Mm-hmm.
extroverted on Instagram. I'm always on Instagram. I feel like marketing the business. I still
Mm-hmm.
do all of that. And so I feel like just by all of that engagement, I like my downtime at night just to kind of wind down. And, that might look differently now that I don't drink. Like, so like
Mm-hmm.
journaling, spending time with my dog. I've been
Who's
doing a
adorable, by
lot
the
of
way.
cute. He's so cute.
So cute.
He's with me today. He's a little office dog now.
Aw, that's great.
Yeah. So just like doing those things, or I'll work on like business stuff at night that I don't get to get, through during the day, but just like a different
Mm-hmm.
like wind down regimen. And yeah, it's been really good for me. I love sobriety, and people ask me all the time, are you going to drink again? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't feel like I had a problem, but I do believe that it runs in my family.
Mm-hmm.
And so now that I've went this long not drinking, it's like, I just don't want to consume alcohol. Like, I think that, that it's just like not in my priority list. It's not how I want to feel anymore. I think because I feel
Mm-hmm.
so good now.
Yep. If someone asks me that, I say, not today. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but you know what? Not today.
Yeah. Not today, Satan.
Yeah, not today, Satan. You ain't taking me, devil. Oh, no. Not
Not today.
today.
That's a little southern, I guess, phrase. Not today, Satan.
Yeah, that's right. I always say, if I deal with the devil, I'm going to live forever. So I want to talk a little bit about, things that we do on a daily, weekly basis, just something that's in our routine to help if anyone's, maybe struggling with
Mm-hmm.
sobriety, kind of the things that help us. And I think I already mentioned a couple that I do, including working out.
Yeah.
I try to get up early in the morning. I don't know if you've ever been to a conference or heard Cameron Hemphill say that he always gets up like before
Oh,
the sun. Like he gets
no.
up at
I mean,
like
I
5
follow a few
a.m.
that do that, and they're very
Yeah.
successful, and I don't think I'm a morning person. I think some routine things for me that are helpful in maintaining the sobriety or like
Hmm.
as an outsource, or an outlet. Hot yoga for sure that you had mentioned.
Hmm.
Just I hired actually a fitness coach to maintain my accountability.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really helped me a lot in just like eating healthy and also just making sure I'm drinking all my water because
Mm-hmm.
injecting, it's so hard. Like I'll look down and have like freaking 16 ounces and I'm like, oh, okay, now I have to drink 100 ounces before bed.
Mm-hmm.
So just having that accountability. So like if someone is struggling, like hire an accountability partner. Like tell your best friend, like, hey, I'm struggling drinking right now, or this is really bothering me. If you have a good best friend that you trust and you can depend on, they will be there to support you. I think a lot in my journey, I was scared to tell or ask for help,
Mm-hmm.
that like frowned upon. But I made it very, like, obviously I was very verbal on Instagram of like my choice and why. And like it's been nothing but great for the business and for myself and my team. But I definitely would say just working out, maybe hire a coach to maintain that accountability, reach out to your
Mm-hmm.
best friend, see your therapist, journal. Another
Absolutely.
Another big thing for me, which we didn't really talk much about, but I will just briefly share, is I did the ketamine through Mind Bloom at
Oh.
home. And the oral ketamine at home really helped. I did a year, well, halfway, 6 months of my sobriety was without ketamine.
Mm-hmm.
The other 6 months was with ketamine. So I did six
Nice.
months with it, and it really, I feel like, helped with like a lot of the emotions and stuff I was trying to process. Because I felt like going sober, you would think would be better for your mental health, but
Mm-hmm.
actually for me, it was the opposite. It was worse on my mental health. I think just like
Mm-hmm.
getting everything out. And then now that I've like processed those things, it's like, it's a whole different world. So, yeah, ketamine was like super helpful for me.
That's amazing. And I think that you touched on one good thing is that, your mental health, I think, comes to the surface when you're sober
Yeah.
and you don't have that fog anymore, kind of keeping it
Yeah.
like on that mid-level layer, so to speak.
Hmm.
And, I know for me, I work a program of recovery and have a very strong network of people that I can reach out to
Hmm.
at any point in time. And I think that everyone's journey into sobriety can look very different. But, I think that coming to that realization that you probably shouldn't drink anymore really is that first step. And from
Hmm.
there, you can only go up, right? Like
It's only up. I mean,
you
there's
know,
some rocky points.
oh,
Don't get me
100%.
wrong. But another thing that was beneficial for me too was I worked with a naturopath here and
Hmm.
got off like some antidepressants that I feel like was masking some of my like emotions.
Hmm.
Was able to like work through more stuff with that too. But yeah, it just makes you wonder like how much like of our day to day, because I've been reading this book too about being present, about
Hmm.
how much maybe you're drinking, is it in relation to something in the past or something that hasn't even happened yet?
Hmm.
It's that fear. So like being present and living in the now is so important to stay focused, and like you don't need alcohol if you're living in the now. Those kind of things.
Absolutely.
I've just been like transitioning my mindset with that too.
There's a book, and I think it's called, The Untethered Soul. Have you ever read that?
No, but I have heard of it. Have you read it?
I am like 3/4 of the way through it. I don't know if you read
Okay.
books like me, like you start reading like four of them and you're like halfway through all of them. I can never finish one book. I'm always,
I'm on Audibles, but if I open a book in front of me, it's not going to get read.
yeah. Well, with my
But
ADHD, so
Audible,
I'll listen to a
I
book
know.
and then read it too, which is amazing. If you guys haven't caught on, I have pretty bad ADHD, so
Same.
yeah, no, that's amazing and really does help to connect. Like it's very like yoga inspired. I know that you like yoga too.
Yeah.
Um, but it really talks about like heart chakras and like holding in like energy and how that can be negative and
Hmm.
like it's very it kind of correlates a lot with a lot of philosophies in sobriety. So I think I'll send it to you. I'll send you the link
Yeah. Yeah. Send me the
and
link. I would love
you can
that.
check it out. But I think that,
Sure.
you touched on so many good things about, maintaining that sanity. But I think just, getting it out in the open is the first thing, and not feeling ashamed of it. Like there's no reason that, I should be ashamed to order a Diet Coke with a lemon, which is my go-to drink right now. I never liked Diet Coke. Don't ask me why I like it now. I don't know.
I think
There's
it's
something
just
in it.
like a mind thing. Like, like I love a LaCroix. Like I always want to have, like, I keep them in the office. I'll pop a few during the day. I'll drink some at night. Like, it's just, I'll drink water in that. And it's like always just having like liquids around me, is what I think is helpful. And it's like, maybe I'm just thirsty and I'm just drinking. Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't feel like I had like a super big problem with it, but I think it could have turned into a problem, So, I'm super happy with my decision. There's no regrets, no looking back.
That's amazing. I love it. There is one thing that you do, Shelbi, that I cannot subscribe to. Every time I watch you do it, it hurts me.
What? Oh, cold plunge?
Your cold plunges. Oh my God. My balls suck up in my body every time. And I'm like, I cannot. And you just do it and you look beautiful doing it. And I can't. How often do you still do it?
I do still do it. So right now, my apartment that I live at actually has a cold plunge, and my girlfriend, that's my neighbor, they have a cold plunge too. So when mine's broke, I go to hers, but I am moving soon. So I might have to get a membership or something, but I do feel like that helps my mental health, and that, I saw.
How long do you submerge yourself? It's just, it seems so painful.
2 minutes, maybe 3 max, maybe.
Oh,
it's amazing. Like, just the, how like when you feel after yoga, like that, like mental, like clarity, like you just sweated for like, a whole hour. And you get that almost in that like 3-minute mark.
I can't even turn on my shower and walk in when it's cold. So I can't imagine 2 minutes of full submersion.
You just like, when I go in, I just like think, okay, it's short term, sacrifice. So it just helps mainly for my mental health. I feel like anxiety and depression just kind of keeps it at bay. I do it maybe 3 times a week, for at least 3. Okay. And I can definitely tell when I don't have it.
Really?
I'm like bitchy or like, irritated.
Oh, don't tell my husband, he'll drown me in a tub.
You know how shit. Are.
Oh, okay. All right. Maybe I'm going to try baby steps in the shower. I'll start my shower cold.
Yeah. Just do 30 seconds and work up to a minute. And then the rest is history. Like once you do a minute, I mean, you can do a few more minutes, and it's just building that mental strength. I don't really even do it for the physical components, which is like inflammation, fat burning. I don't do it for any of those reasons. It's mainly just to maintain like the mental health. And it's super helpful. I started it it's probably almost been a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I love it.
Well, all right.
You can do it.
Actually, that much. I'll start.
You should try it, and it's just.
I'll keep you updated on my progress.
Yeah, and maybe I'll have to do the cold shower too when I move to my new place, and just be like, okay, I'm just gonna cold shower it for 3 minutes.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm gonna just believe you on that with the therapeutic effects. We'll see how this goes, but
you got it.
I don't want to take up too much of your time, my dear. I know that you have patients to see, but. Thank you so much I'm so appreciative of you taking this time just to talk about this important topic. It's been on my mind for a little bit, and I'm glad that we could connect today. If anybody wants to get a hold of you, how do they book with you? Where do they find you? Give them all the socials and all the things.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to book with me in Arkansas or Arizona, our contact number is 602-702-3253. And then on Instagram, of course, we're Snatched by Sloan, and it's SLOAN.
Love it. Thank you so much. You guys know how to find me. I'm _aesthetic consultant on Instagram, and all the ways to stalk me are in there. So thank you guys for tuning in today. We hope you found a little nugget that you can take with you or tell a friend. And we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks, Shelbi.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and comment. Follow us on Instagram at the Aesthetics Injector Gang.